think, yes, it's good that as a country we put in place measures to, protect the public on public health. However, I'm also of the belief that that should also be done holistically so that it will not be like we have done it at this point and at this point we've not done it. If we are saying that alcohol is not good, consumption of alcohol is creating problems, then there are a lot of best experiences as a country we can learn from. Because if you look at the WHO, they have what they call the SAFER, which is an acronym. And the SAFER talks about measures put in place to, reduce the repercussion of taking alcohol. The S stands for strengthen restrictions on alcohol availability, which in countries like US, among others, is practice. Where it's difficult to buy the alcohol, especially if you don't have ID card and other things. You understand? And there is the A of the SAFER, which also talks about enforce drink driving countermeasures. And in countries like Dubai and other Arab countries, it's really a serious matter. And even in Europe, if you drink and you drive, the punishments are so grave that you wouldn't even want to try it. Then the F, which talks about facilitate access to screening, brief interventions and treatment. It talks about medication, healthcare of those who are infected after taking
rehabilitation.
Then there is the E, which is what we have adopted, which is the enforced bans, comprehensive restrictions on alcohol advertising, sponsorship, and promotion. That is where we have, we have been pushing. So we say on TV, when it comes to promotion and advertising, you cannot, show adverts or talk about alcohol when it's not beyond 8 p.m. So we have stuck to this. And there is the R, which talks about raise prices on alcohol through excise taxes and pricing policies, where you make it very expensive. So when you push him, he was talking about the fact that they are working on it, where the availability, they are trying to, reduce the availability so that you cannot sell a certain quantity or size. And also, you cannot restricting it to children, that you cannot sell it to a child. This was passed over 8 years ago.
So you're saying we have adopted the E. By we, you mean Ghana?
Ghana.
Okay.
You understand? And there are other, you need to, be able to combine some of them so that you can have a holistic impact. Because if you go and take that of advertising and you leave other things, because on the grounds, it is available. Yeah. There is no restriction on the ground.
Yeah.
So, when you are, every day there are new companies coming in, selling alcohol.
Approved by brands, the FDA.
Approved. And talking about the 8 p.m., you know that 8 p.m. these children are not asleep. However, these things are ongoing on the ground. Parents are drinking. Parents are role models. So how holistic is our approach? That's my problem. We need to ensure that our approach is very holistic. When you push me saying that we are putting measures in place to ensure that you can't sell it to children, among others. But it's been about 8 years since this ban came into effect. So all of these 8 years, what were you doing? That is why I agree with Mickey. That is a lazy man's approach. 8 years. Since 2016, the ban came into effect. What have you been doing? You understand? And even how, you're talking about LI. How has the sensitization approach been? It was like even bringing this alcohol ban. A lot of celebs were not even aware until they went to court.
In fact, because Ebeku said here on Max TV this morning that he doesn't even know what's going on.
If you are bringing any policy which affects people, you need to sensitize the people on. You need to have sermons with them and sections with them for them to understand. Even if you can even partner them, because if you really convince them, you can partner them on educational purpose so that they educate the public. But the people who are the key stakeholders, because if you do the stakeholder mapping, you know that some stakeholders have influence, some stakeholders have power, some stakeholders have interest.
Like stakeholders, you mean the celebs?
No,
all of us?
Yeah, I'm talking about the stakeholder chain, value chain.
Okay.
That stakeholders with power, that stakeholders with influence, that stakeholders with just interest, and that stakeholders who have power and interest, that stakeholders who have influence and interest. So how do you engage? And all of these kind of different kinds of stakeholders have to be engaged differently, so that you'll be able to get, the effects you want. But you do not engage these stakeholders, and it's like you are on a fighting, grounds with them. It's not the best, because whatever the FDA is doing, they will need these very influencers to push the message out. So we, as a country, it's about time that we do a holistic approach, because else we may be doing the things, but we will not be feeling the impact. And it has happened to some of the national policies and others over the years we have been introducing. We introduce a policy at the top and it is not going to the ground. There is that gap between where the policy is emanating and where the policy is to take effect. So we need to have that holistic approach to be able to get the right
Now that the Supreme Court has upheld what they are saying, what else can be done? Because it's the Supreme Court. It's the Supreme Court of the land. Where else do you go?
Yeah, so
what else can you do?
It was 5-2, and like people, you may think that the 5-2 is like a lot of majority, but the Supreme Court said the ruling will be ready by today, which is Friday. Now
that's when they table the details.
Yeah, we had about 2 of them dissenting. Okay. So I'm sure the lawyers for the celebs, Mark Darlington, will look at, what the dissenting views were, because if you are dissenting, you show by writing reason you are departing from the majority view, and the majority view too will table what necessitated their reason for backing the FDA. And if the lawyers analyze all of these views and feel like there are some loopholes, there is that opportunity for them to go for some review or for salt, where if it's really on legal grounds, among other things, I'm sure the Supreme Court can abandon its position, because there will be other members of the panel coming on board, a new panel coming on to add up to the numbers. So anything can happen. So I will be interested to see the reasons for which, the 5 backed the FDA, and the reasons for which the 2 dissented. And I think it shows how important the case is, because the Chief Justice herself, Madam Justice Tokonu, was the presiding judge for the case, and she read the outcome of their ruling. So we'll be really interested to see what exactly is the end. There are other opportunities legally for them to...
All right, so our time is up. Yes. So before we go, do you have something to say?
Yes, I partially agree with what my brother is saying. Because, there was a time I made a proposal. I said it on one of the platforms that if you are going to a drinking spot to drink, come along with your Ghana card. And people were making fun out of it. Yes, they took that section alone, and it was all over TikTok that we are now going into digital drinking. It was a strategy to curtail minors from coming to the drinking spot. You see? But because...
Maybe you also didn't educate very well. Why would you put bluntly, come with your Ghana card? You should have educated.
I explained. But they took only the portion where I said they should come with your Ghana card. Because if you don't have Ghana card, we won't sell a petition for you.
Okay. I think from today, when the whole thing comes out, we would have Edem back, and we'll probably have you back. Edem, we'll have to do a holistic scrutiny of it so much here, yes. So when it comes to TV4 crying, to me,
definitely, because that the Supreme Court has ruled, it means that it's becoming law. So there'll be questions.
All right, Edem will have to come.
A quick one.
Edem, my time is up.
I'd like to say, express my deepest condolences to the family of Rufus Ej in Tiamwa. I mean, he's passed on.
Yeah.
He's a friend. We are doing the 1 week tomorrow at Trinity Academy, Domi Pillar 2. So, KK, I mean, it's sad that you bow out at this very tender age. We are sad of your passing.
Yeah.
Antododo and all the guys are really sad. See you tomorrow at Domi Pillar 2.
Let me say hello to my pastor.
Okay.
Pastor.
Obi Awubrun san I will say. Okay, go ahead.
Pastor George. Yeah, Pastor George and Francisca. All of Davi Sport.
Davi Sport.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.